I look at everyone, primarily when I go to my children, I look at my children as paparazzi. They watch and take mental pictures of everything that I do. Everything. So if I'm not leading myself, being the individual that I am supposed to be every day, then I'm failing. I'm failing myself, I'm failing them. Get up every morning, plant both feet firmly on the ground, and take that first step.
Welcome back to the Same Business, Different Day podcast. Today, we get to introduce and talk to Lionel Saulsberry. Now, Lionel is a true inspiration for those looking to balance their personal and professional life successfully. With a remarkable career, Lionel has carved his own path in the business world while being a loving husband and father to his big family. Today, we're going to ask Lionel to share his journey with us, the challenges he's faced, the lessons he's learned, and the successes he's achieved. He's also going to talk about the importance of seeking help and support when needed. So you guys buckle up as we dive into Lionel's story. It's inspiring, and we're going to talk about personal and business. Thank you very much, Lionel, for being here. Lionel Saulsberry, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely,
Such
man.
a pleasure.
Let me kill this music. Mateo, can you hear about music? We were just jamming out to some jazz right now. Yeah, we were a little Robert Glasper.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Of someone that we both have in common as a fan. Is a very good jazz artist if you guys ever want to check him out. So, Lionel, as I was telling you, we kind of dig into the early years. We go way back to the beginning. We talk about the whole journey, and there's plenty to talk about when it comes to you. I got to meet you once or twice, but on, quick little handshakes and smiles. But I appreciate that once you reached out to me for coffee, I knew I had to sit down with you and talk, even though I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
And I usually don't do early morning meetings.
I do appreciate that.
No, I appreciate it as well, because I really got to learn a lot about you. And I think that everybody's going to be inspired by the story, just like I said in the intro. So I'm really excited for it. So where it all started for you, where did it all start for you? Where were you born?
I was born in Youngstown, Ohio. A little small town. It's known because of the steel mills.
Okay.
And they closed down in the 80s, but that's where I'm from.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of famous people from Youngstown,
yes.
Actually. That's the one thing that was a lot of famous people from Ohio in general. And, people look at it as kind of like the flyover state or whatever, but I have heard it to be, kind of like a tough area.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Very tough.
Okay.
Very tough. You really have to mind your P's and Q's while you're in Youngstown. Yes.
Yeah. In what way?
So historically, it was pretty much a mob town.
Okay.
So there was a lot of things that went on back in the early 60s and 70s. Well talked about, well documented. Growing up, it was a tough city to grow up in, but it's a beautiful city. Really able to work together as a community and kind of help each other out. And I learned how to be resilient from growing up in Youngstown.
Yeah. All your family there?
Yes. All my family, mom, dad, 2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Okay.
Grandparents, my uncle, my aunt.
Oh, okay.
So
you got community.
Family. Absolutely.
You got community there.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. And now, are you the oldest?
No, I'm in the middle.
Okay.
I'm the middle child.
Okay. Now, did you remember what you wanted to be when you grew up? Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to be an actor.
Okay, I thought you were going to say astronaut. The way you laugh.
No space for me. I wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
I was 12 and I would go to the Playhouse and we learned how to act. We learned how to manage the stage and perform. I ended up writing my very first play, which was called Nursing Home Blues, which was a comedy.
How old were you when you wrote
I
this?
was 12. I was 12 years
What you
old.
know about nursing home at 12? That's awesome. It's a great name.
Oh, it was a good comedy.
Okay.
But through that, I was able to become an extra in the Wiz production.
Really?
Yes.
Really? The Wiz.
It was The Wiz, but it
Okay.
was the Youngstown version of The Wiz. Small stage, very small stage. But I got to play around with that for quite some time. Also started to dabble in music.
Okay.
So I was rapping for quite some time, as a lot of people did
Sure.
in my community.
Especially at that time.
Yeah,
period.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
So I enjoy writing. So.
Okay. So you're thinking about being an actor, and you're good at writing. Did you ever study in any way? Did you
No,
focus on that when it came to education?
Not at all.
Okay.
With education,
Mhm.
I wasn't a good student.
Really?
I wasn't a good student.
Were your parents pushing you to be a good student though? Or
my parents did push me, but they were busy. You know, my
that's
parents.
what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
You got that blue collar town.
Absolutely. My folks were working, and my dad would always say, "I know you'll be okay. I know you will be okay." So,
what do you think he attributed that to?
just seeing me, just seeing my.
Did he say that to all of the siblings?
No,
Okay.
he didn't.
So then that's a parent who's actually paying attention to the child. And he said, "I know you'll be okay." I'm sorry, let you finish.
No.
So what do you attribute that to? What did he see in you?
I guess he saw a good work ethic. So I started working when I was 12. I had a paper route, and I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, fold the paper, put it in the bag, and I would go to every house, walk up every stair, open up the screen door, put the newspaper in, and close the screen door. I would never just throw the paper on the porch. So I guess he saw that. He saw how engaged I was in whatever it was that I would do, and he felt I would be okay. I was going through high school. I was not a good student at all. I would skip a lot of school. I would go in for the beginning of school, when around lunchtime I would leave and do some things throughout the community, and I would be back in time to run track. I ran 110 meter high hurdles, and that was a love of mine. So I'd be there on time for that, but missed a lot of school. Didn't get the chance to graduate with my peers, so I didn't get the cap and gown. I didn't get to walk on the stage. I ended up getting my diploma at a bar from a Marine Corps recruiter. It's a restaurant that I worked at, and at that bar, my Marine Corps recruiter, and you talked about famous people from Ohio.
Yeah.
Ed O'Neill was he's a pretty famous actor. At the time, it was Married with Children, which he was on.
Yeah.
He was at that bar when I got my diploma.
Is that right?
Yes. So that was a very memorable moment for me.
I bet it was. But now, in terms of the memory, though, I'm sure you can think back to the memory of not walking with your peers.
Absolutely.
As well, and
that was a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
It was a terrible feeling, and when I started to go to college, that was my goal, to get a cap and gown and to be able to walk, and I was able to do that.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm gonna go back a couple of steps.
Yeah.
One thing that I really like is that newspaper route story.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it kind of forecasts your attention to detail.
Absolutely.
Where you're putting it right inside the screen door. I mean, when we were growing up, it was about who had the best arm.
Oh, yeah.
Can you get it up on the porch? If you can't porch it, you can't ride with us.
Right.
But that's very cool that you were going up and making sure everybody got the, because a lot of people got the paper stolen too.
Yes,
And
exactly.
so you were putting that right there where they could get it. So there's that work ethic. Now, you also were making some money. Was that your first job?
That was my first job.
Okay.
Age 12.
Were you making some decent money? Did you?
The money was, as a young man, the money was really good.
Okay. And how were you using it?
I would focus during that time, especially with that being my first job. I wanted to get a pair of name brand sneakers.
Yeah.
That was my thing. And of course, I didn't know any better.
Mhm.
I ended up buying a pair of LA Gears. I don't know if you remember those shoes.
I do remember LA Gear. I do remember
I
LA Gear.
I ordered them online. Actually, it was from a Finger Hut order booklet,
Mhm.
and I'm a lot wiser now. I would never pay $120 for a pair of LA Gears.
Investment
It was
idea.
not a good investment at all. But I learned from that,
Mhm.
and then I would typically spend my money on CDs.
Okay.
I love music, so my friend George and I would go to the mall, and my aunt used to work at Camelot Music.
Okay.
So she would let me know when new music was coming out.
Okay.
So we would go to the mall on Saturday, and I had money to purchase a cassette tape.
Good.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that you weren't having to support the family or put the money back into the household, or
I did
anything like
contribute.
that? Okay.
So that was a big thing for us. Everybody contributed.
Okay.
So in whichever way that was, whether it was ironing everyone's clothes
Mhm.
on the weekend to make sure that everyone had
Mhm.
clothes to wear throughout the week,
Mhm.
washing, cleaning the house, doing our normal chores.
Yeah.
Someone had to contribute. So we all did. And we did it over music,
That's
primarily
right.
over gospel music.
Over gospel music.
Yes.
I love it, man. I mean, and that's still in you today, I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, how about mentors? People you looked up to, people that you aspired to be like, or that were either in the neighborhood or on TV, or just people who will come around and just give some advice, or maybe it was your father,
My father and my mother.
Okay.
Both of them are very strong individuals,
Mhm.
both faith-based, rooted.
Okay.
So they were an inspiration. I grew up in front of the television.
Okay.
So the Cosby Show
Okay.
was a major focus for me. A Different World, Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
So he was a inspiration, and
Mhm.
it was, especially with the movie just coming out here this just past week, Transformers, Optimus Prime.
Okay.
Some of the things that he says is so inspirational, so motivational.
Really?
So it really is. It really is.
Oh,
He
man.
knows how to bring together a team, and I get it. It's a cartoon, and
Hey.
forgive me for that.
No.
But
Hey.
yeah, that was those are some of the people that I would
Whatever
look up
speaks
to.
to you, man. I got to go back and watch this stuff. That's wild. So, did you move away to go to college?
No, I actually joined the Marine Corps.
Okay.
At the age of 19, a week before Christmas.
Mhm.
But
let me start. Okay, so and that's great. No, because you did tell me about the story about him giving you a diploma,
Yeah.
the recruiter. So did he come with a caveat, like, here, I'll give you this if, or was
No.
it you had already said, I'm going? You had already
So,
committed to it. How did this happen?
I committed to joining the Marine Corps.
Mhm.
I would go down on the weekends, and there was training.
Mhm.
So was called PT, physical training.
Mhm.
We would go down in PT with the Marine Corps recruiters, and
While you were still in high school.
while I was still in high school.
Uh-huh.
And then after I finished up with high school during the summertime, I would still go down.
And what motivated you to do this? I mean, other than
There-
okay, so you're saying that you weren't having the best time in high school,
No.
except for track.
Absolutely.
So as long as the PT didn't get in the way of track, you were going.
Well, this leads back to me being growing up in front of the television.
Okay.
So during Saturday morning cartoons,
Mhm.
there was a Marine Corps commercial that would come on.
Mhm.
And it was a Marine Corps officer,
Mhm.
and he was fighting a dragon. And at the end, he's in his dress blue uniform, and he has this sword. And I
Mhm.
said, I want that uniform, I want that sword, and I want to fight dragons. How do I get there?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man,
Absolutely.
Hey, marketing, Mattel, you hear this? Man, the way they did this during the cartoons,
Yes, they sure did.
and got you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And
I need to figure out when to put my advertisement.
Hello, friends. I'm Joe Samo. I'm an attorney in San Diego, and I'm the host of Run It By My Lawyer. It's a great podcast where you will learn a lot about the law, and it is very entertaining, if I say so myself. And you could get it for free anywhere you get your podcasts, and you could follow us on Instagram at Run It By My Lawyer.
We're here to interrupt your regular podcast listening and ask you to join us at Odd Pairing Podcast.
Yes, it's Paige and I, and we are here every week now on Fridays. And we talk about adult beverages in the community, a little bit of the history of it, and we are just going on a nice little journey. And you can hear other people's drinking stories. So why wouldn't you want to listen?
That's the best part.
That is the best part.
Cheers.
That's amazing.
I met a gentleman, his name was Sergeant Hill,
Okay.
and I would go downtown and I would see them and I would work out with them. I love to run. So
Yeah.
I would run with them and they would invite me to different trainings and we would go out and play in the mud. And
So now, what did your family think about this? What during that time? Did they know where you were? Did they know?
They
what
knew.
was happening? Okay.
They did not like it at
Really?
all.
Why?
No, not at all. My parents were concerned about me going to war.
Yeah.
So especially my dad.
Do you see that being something? You said your family's real faith-based and religious. Do you see that being something that's pretty common in that mindset?
I do.
Okay.
I believe that's part of it.
Okay.
That's a part of it because there's a lot of things that come with.
So they put some of that religious guilt on you when it came to that?
Not necessarily.
Okay. I'm not trying to out your parents.
No.
or anything.
My mom, she will pull you in.
Mhm.
Baby, I don't like this.
Mhm.
But no, she didn't put
Anytime
any
a mom
type
call
of
you
guilt.
baby, man,
Oh
you
yeah.
gotta listen, man. I'm sorry, mom.
They were more concerned
Sure.
than anything else.
Mhm.
Concerned for my well-being
Mhm.
and what their sweet son would change into.
Really?
I think that was the biggest thing.
You wasn't that sweet. You was ditching school
Oh
anyway.
yeah, I wasn't. But I always had a kind heart.
Yeah.
Always had a kind
Sure,
heart, and I
yeah.
think that shined through
Mhm.
over anything.
Mhm.
But yeah, they had major concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then how did you power through with that?
I had to push forward.
Yeah.
So I sat down with my parents and I told them this is something that I really want to do.
Yeah.
I believe in what this Marine Corps has to offer,
Mhm.
and I invited Sergeant Hill over
Mhm.
to speak with my parents, and he graciously came over. I know he was a recruiter, and the thing is getting numbers, but he came over and he was a part of my family.
Mm.
And he stayed a part of my family throughout my entire journey as going to boot camp and becoming a United States Marine.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you would want that with anybody.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I guess if, we consider him an educator, because a recruiter kind of, it's not necessarily the sweetest word in my
No, it's not.
ear, but you want somebody, that you hear about that too in sports recruitment, right? Where the coach actually shows up.
Yeah.
And some of the best stories you hear, these documentaries and stuff, the coach shows up and he sits down with dinner and he makes an impression.
Absolutely.
He makes an impact. And so that's good that he was he became a part of your family. To say that's big.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But okay, so then you're just like, okay, I'm doing it. It's interesting because when I rewind back to some of our past episodes, we've certainly had a number of folks who have been, military veterans, right? Natasha Mills' story, I forget. I think her family lineage was Marines, but she went to the Navy, and that was an issue, right? But then you also have other folks whose family were Marines, and they become Marines. Then there was other stories which are pretty cool, where it's just like, I just couldn't afford college, and this was going to help.
Yeah.
And that kind of conversation and honesty is pretty sweet. You were in a situation where nobody before you was in the military, and they were actually trying to talk you out of it, and you had to push through.
Well, right there in my immediate family, my uncles, all three of my uncles, my dad's brothers, they were all in the Navy.
Okay.
Each and every one of them.
Okay.
But it was never something that we discussed until after I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And then I started to understand a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah.
But the consensus was
Yeah.
not at all. Not for you.
I hear it. So then what was the experience?
Probably it is in my top 3 experiences ever in my life.
Yeah.
I served in the Marine Corps for 22 years. I lived outside of the United States for 14 of those years.
Okay.
I've met a wealth of people that, for the most part, I consider a lot of them still my friends, my brothers, my sisters. I have a network for the rest of my life, and they have that same network within me. But it also gives me an opportunity to work with young people who don't know exactly what it is that they want to do. They don't know what direction they want to go into. And I will talk about Marine Corps all day.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I loved every moment of it. There's going to be hard times in whatever it is that you do in your life. But if I had to weigh the two between hard times and good times, good times all day.
Okay. Okay, so here's a question I got for you. Now, 22 years.
Yes.
You did, right? How would the Lionel after 22 years tell the parents in year one? What would you say differently after you've had your experience? What would you say to those parents who are saying, no, baby, don't do it? I mean, because you definitely have a different perspective.
Yes.
You were a kid back then and you're like, I have to go. This is, what I've decided to do. But now you got 22 years of experience under your belt and, it's certainly, like you said, top 3 experiences. How would you have responded to them if it was today's Lionel? How would you have responded to it?
If I could illustrate this as best as I can, I would say the Marine Corps is like masonry. There's individuals that are skilled in taking a rock and shaping it to probably the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. That is what the Marine Corps is. If you embrace it wholeheartedly and you become a part of that community, that is what the Marine Corps will do to you, for you, with you. It took a young man with very little direction from the streets of Youngstown and created a leader, someone who wants to inspire everyone. In any situation, I just want to inspire someone. Everybody has this candle in them. I want to spark that wick and start a fire within them. That's what the Marine Corps did to me. It changed my life completely.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. That's really, and it's inspirational too, right? You came out of there, maybe even with more than what you expected to come out of there with.
Absolutely.
But you also came out with a message.
Yes.
Right? To inspire others. And not that others are going in there and, hoping for roses, but, or just being ignorant to it and just walking in and saying, I don't care what happens in here. I'm just going to do my 4 years and get out of here or whatever. But you actually came out of there with something special and that makes you an ambassador to them. And that's special.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's very special. And during that journey, I'm sure your parents were real happy for you as well. It
was nice for me to invite my parents to come stay at some of the places that I was stationed at.
Nice.
And to get them they can experience something different. Probably the greatest joy was to invite them to New York. And I worked at the United States Merchant Marine Academy, which is a school in Kings Point, New York. And the school, they create engineers. And these kids are getting on boats. And we took a boat and I took my parents to the Statue of Liberty. And to see their faces light up.
Yeah.
And that's what the Marine Corps allowed me to do for them.
Sure.
And not just New York, but other different duty stations that I've been able to serve at. I was able to bring my family there, and that was really good.
Beautiful. Really good. So now we get to college, right?
No.
Okay. What's next?
College within the Marine Corps.
Okay. So that was during that period of time.
So So I started off slow when I joined the Marine Corps, going to college here and there, bits and pieces, but I was busy. As a
Okay.
Marine, I was busy.
It probably helped though. I mean, because if your experience in high school wasn't the greatest,
Mhm.
then being fully immersed in school again.
It wouldn't have worked. It would not have worked for me. I needed to mature first. The Marine Corps got me to that level. And I was doing classes here and there, but I was busy being a Marine.
Mhm.
So in my first 4 years in the Marine Corps, I was doing a lot of things with the Marine Corps.
Mhm.
Color guard, drill, being a postal clerk. That was my primary MOS, learning the job.
Mhm.
Then from there, I went to Sicily, and same thing, learning the job
Yeah.
and really working. I was still going to college piece by piece,
Okay.
but nothing real substantial.
Yeah.
Just a class here and a class there. Left Sicily and became a drill instructor
Mhm.
down at Paris Island, which was very challenging,
Sure.
very rewarding.
Uh-huh.
And while I was doing that, I was still going to school.
Okay.
I didn't really buckle down until Okinawa, Japan. So probably 2007,
Mhm.
I buckled down and I really dove into school
Mhm.
and plugged through and earned my my marketing degree. And
Congratulations.
I got the
to
chance
you,
to
man.
walk with the cap and gown.
Cheers to you, man.
Salute.
Cheers. Absolutely, man. And thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
Hmm. Beautiful. Okay. So you get the degree. What do we do next?
So I retired from the Marine Corps in 2017.
Mhm.
While I was in my transitionary period from retiring and getting into the civilian world, I started working at the Army Navy Academy.
Okay.
It's a college preparatory military boarding school in Carlsbad.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's time for me to get into the reveal so we can move forward in this conversation. I love it. We are on the Same Business Different Day podcast, and we are thrilled to reintroduce you to an accomplished individual who has dedicated his life to serving his country and his community. Lionel Saulsberry is a 22-year military veteran with a wealth of experience and knowledge to share. In addition to his service, Lionel has taken on leadership roles in his community, including running for city council in San Marcos in 2022,
Yes,
right? And serving on the planning commission for one of the fastest growing cities in San Diego County. Now, as the assistant commandant, that shouldn't be such a hard word to say, at the Army and Navy Academy, Lionel strives to make a positive impact by mentoring true future leaders. Let's dig a little deeper and get some valuable insights into Lionel's leadership journey, his experiences, and his thoughts on what the future holds. Once again, we welcome Lionel Saulsberry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you sharing, and I appreciate some of that good advice that you already have given us, right? I want to dig into it because I know I keep bringing up how good of a family man you are, you know, and how big the family is now. But the family grew out of a lot.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you had a lot to get here. And I think that that's part of the journey that
Absolutely.
maybe that still needs to be spoken about. And so even though you did your 22 years in the Marines, were you married the whole time, or at what point? Because I know at some point you had your earlier relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
I got married early.
When did you? Okay. When was the diploma? What date? What year was that diploma?
That was 94, August 1994.
Okay. I graduated high school in 91.
Oh man.
Okay.
I left Youngstown in December 19th of 94.
Okay.
Joined the Marine Corps in, I want to say it was the end of January, beginning of February. I had a hard time swimming. I'm from the city.
Okay.
Swimming was never a thing for me.
Sure.
So there's a period of time in recruit training, which is called mess or maintenance. You either work in the mess hall or you do maintenance throughout the base. And if you are a terrible swimmer, that's the time you get to exercise a little bit more.
Okay.
I was a terrible swimmer, and I found myself in the pool with another terrible swimmer. Her name was Daniqua Cooper, a young lady from Detroit, Michigan, and we helped each other
Also
out.
from the city.
She's from the city, and we helped each other out. We both learned how to swim. Throughout training, I would see her every Sunday at church, because we would go to church every Sunday, and I would see her and she would wave and I would wave. And we both graduated boot camp and ended up in Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indiana, where Postal School is. I was there, and 2 days later, she showed up. We got to know each other. We left that school, and we both got stationed in Iwakuni, Japan. I showed up. 2 days later, she showed up.
Wow.
A year after that date.
You didn't know that was going to happen.
I didn't. I had no idea. A year after that date, we got married.
Wow.
And the entire time that I was in the Marine Corps, she and I were together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then eventually you guys had kids.
We did. Very shortly after we got married, we had a total of 4 children. I joke around and said she was pregnant consistently for 4 years. So we had 4 children. We lost our first 2, and then thank you. We ended up with our 2 boys, Miles and Noah. Yeah, 2 amazing young men who live in the city of San Marcos with me.
How old are they now?
They are 25 and 24.
Shout out Miles and Noah. Shout out my son Miles too.
Oh yeah.
Right on. Right on. So, I mean, what's that like raising kids while you're still in the Marines and traveling a little bit too?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think for the traveling aspect, it was great because my boys got to see the world. They got to experience different cultures. I never lived on base wherever we were stationed. I lived on the community. I lived with the people of that area. So they were able to learn different languages from Italian, Japanese, just picking up different cultures and being more well-rounded.
Yeah.
So I think that that helped them out tremendously.
So, and then, I mean, where would they say that they grew up?
They would probably say they grew up in Japan.
Wow.
They had a small experience of Italy. They were able to have friends in New York. They experienced South Carolina.
See, that's the thing. And I've heard these stories before too, right? We talk about these military children. Yeah. Right? It's just like, oh, I'm a military man. I'm from everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like, wow. They're like, oh, what's that like? But there's good in that.
Yeah.
You know, there's good in the traveling. There's good in learning different cultures.
Right.
Experiencing like that. Again, even back to the sports world. Some of the traveling athletes have that same kind of experience where their kids kind of, you know, have lived in different, places. Like Kobe. Kobe and I were speaking Italian all of a sudden. Like,
I know.
Yeah, it's like playing soccer. It's like playing soccer. You know what I'm saying? And so that's really, really cool. I mean, in that aspect, you know, of course, there's something to say about knowing where home is, and I was born and raised here, and quote unquote, all of that too. So I guess there's both sides of that. So then, both of you guys, did you both leave the military at the same time? No.
She was medically discharged from the Marine Corps after 4 years. She damaged her knee pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
And then
wasn't because she was pregnant all the time?
No, not at all. That'd have been all on me. But she continued to work with the Marine Corps as a civilian Marines, what they call them. And then after a few years, she started her journey to become a chef.
Okay.
And that was her passion.
Wow. Yeah. Does that pass on to the kids at all?
My 25-year-old Miles, he is starting to learn and appreciate cooking because he has his own place. And DoorDash and Uber Eats is quite costly.
Absolutely.
So he knows how to shop for himself and he knows how to cook.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm teaching my daughter a little bit on cooking right now.
Oh,
She's
man.
about to move away to college. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I got to make sure that, some of these skills are there. I love to cook.
Well, let me know. I love cooking as well. So.
Yeah. They just like to eat my food. So now they got to figure out how to cook it.
Oh, yeah.
I just give them some recipes and some techniques and hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure that chicken is done.
Yep. Absolutely.
Just don't get sick eating. That's the last thing. No, I love it, man. So, let's talk more about the professional journey, right? The Army and Navy Academy, right? You had a lot of opportunity there, just like what you did with the kids in terms of teaching and mentoring and helping raise and plan for these kids. What is the commandant? What is that entail? What's that kind of job description?
Leadership.
Okay.
But leadership with genuine care and concern. So
it should always be like that.
it should be.
Okay.
But in this environment, at the environment of the Army and Navy Academy, it is so important because you are no longer an employee. You are a parent. You become an attachment of that family dynamic. Those boys live there. It's a boarding school. They're there. That is home for them.
Yeah.
So they spend 9 months in that place. So you have to be that person for them. That's what I felt in the position as the assistant
You took real
commandant.
responsibility
Absolutely.
for that. Kind of sounds like, even though you said it was very difficult, the drill sergeant kind of position that
Drill
you had back
instructor.
then. Drill instructor.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I mean,
it's okay. It's
hey,
Army
man,
and Army and Marine Corps.
I only know this stuff from the movies, man. Sorry, man.
No worries.
No
No worries.
disrespect whatsoever.
This podcast is brought to you by YourInsurancePlace.com. Owning a business is hard work. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into it every single day. You need a partner who understands the ins and outs of insuring small to medium-sized businesses. For over 40 years, our California Property and Casualty Insurance Agency has insured businesses just like yours. We've seen it all, and we've learned a thing or two about what it takes to keep your business protected. That's why we offer free policy assessments. We'll take a look at your policy and let you know if there are any gaps in your coverage. Let us help you to protect what you've worked so hard to build. YourInsurancePlace.com.
But the work with them has to be so rewarding.
Yes.
Making sure, I've driven by that place. I know that place.
Oh,
I ride my bike by there all the time. It's Carlsbad.
Yes.
Right. It seems like a beautiful facility from the outside. But those are some kids that really need you. It seems like.
It's the stigma of you're going to a military boarding school.
Okay.
It's not that.
Okay.
It is a college preparatory. Those students, those parents invest in that school so that they have the opportunity of receiving a scholarship to go to one of our fine colleges.
Sure.
Which these boys do.
Yeah.
And these boys work extremely hard.
All boys.
All boys.
Okay.
The military aspect is just to keep them focused. It's to have the military structure. That military structure carries on for life. It gives you a foundation when you go to college.
Yeah.
A set of rules to, okay, when I wake up in the morning, I get up, I make my bed. I square away my room. I get myself together. I'm prepared when I walk into the classroom. That type of structure helps out in college. It helps out in life. It helps out with business. It helps out with relationships. If they get that there, they're set for life.
What percentage of the kids you think are really taking that on?
I would say immediately 75.
Wow. That's still a high percentage.
Later on in life, 100.
They can flash back to it.
Because they'll see the mistakes that they make as an adult. And it's like, oh my goodness, had I listened then, now let me backtrack. Let me get back to where
At least I
need
have to
be.
know how.
Absolutely.
Because I've done it. Beautiful. What did you learn from that experience?
Oh my.
What do you? Let me ask the question differently. What would you use to take from that experience and take it into the corporate world, in the corporate experience, in business?
Everyone is an individual.
That's right.
Everyone. Now we have our foundation. What I would teach the students and my staff is I want you to bring to the table this. Look at it like we're artists. And I'm going to tell you, paint a tree. I don't care what kind of tree it is that you're going to paint. As long as the root is the same, paint me a tree. Bring your personality into it. We have our foundational rules that you have to follow. Follow those rules, but do it in your way. Same with the students. Certain students are going to learn in a certain way. Understood. Learn the way that you need to learn. However, remember the foundation. Stay rooted to what it is that we do, but paint me a tree. And I think that helps them out tremendously.
I love it, man. I love it. So, I mean, that's beautiful, actually. Really eloquent and beautiful, the way that you put that. I want to ask, from there, you also have taken your experiences and decided that you wanted to be a public servant as well.
Yes.
You ran for city council. What put you in that position? What made you want to do that? Or and what was that experience like?
That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The experience was, and I say amazing because of that's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
The journey getting there. My wife and I hosted a Juneteenth celebration at our home last year, and we invited the mayor. And the mayor came. I had never met Mayor Jones, and she came to our home, and her inspiration, her drive, her care about the city inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get involved.
Yeah.
I'm not into politics, but I just care.
Yeah.
Being in San Marcos, I have been there since 2019. My wife and I moved in a week before Thanksgiving in 2019. And that is the very first time in my adult life that I feel like I am at home.
Mm.
Being in the military, you travel around, you see different places, you live in different homes. I'm at home. So with me feeling like I'm at home, I got to take care of my community.
That's right.
I got to take care of the area. Most times when we go for walks, my wife and I, and we walk the dog, we pick up trash.
Mm-hmm.
It's our community. It's where we live. I want to keep this area beautiful, not for property value or anything like that, but because other people live here.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to keep that in that way. And then I felt like I wanted to be a part of it. So how can I give? How can I continue to be a servant leader and just give to the city? And that was the beginning of my journey.
I love it.
And
you're going to continue that journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I did not, I was not successful,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
rightfully so. Rightfully so. I got into the race in the end of June,
Mm-hmm.
and the election took place in November. So the gentleman and the lady that I was running against, they had been in this world for a long time.
Mhm.
And I mean, all great people,
Good.
great individuals who care and love San
That's
Marcos.
good. That's nice. That's good of you to say.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
then there's no
Yeah.
ill will or no hard feelings.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
just the nature of it.
Next year, I'm gonna beat their head in. Yeah. Okay.
But
That's good.
I wanted to be a part of that community.
I love it.
I wanted to be a part of the individuals that make a difference in San Marcos.
Mhm.
And here I am.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. And so now, how did you get involved with the planning commission?
So when I was unsuccessful
Mhm.
for city council, I applied for other positions that were coming vacant.
Mhm.
And I applied for the planning commission, which
Mhm.
was one, and a couple of others.
Is that something you felt like you had some experience in?
No,
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
But I came in as an alternate.
Mhm.
So with me coming in as an alternate, I'm able to watch the individuals that have been there for
Mhm.
quite some time.
Mhm.
I'm able to read. I'm able to learn, going to different conferences and just learning about this committee. But not just learning about the committee, but learning about the community.
Yes.
Because now you're able to see what's coming to the community.
Mhm.
And I go out. If there's a topic that's coming to the planning commission,
Mhm.
I go out and I see the area.
Mhm.
I talk to the people that's in the area.
Yeah.
And I ask them, hey, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah.
And they want to communicate.
Of course.
Most people like me
Yeah.
that are in the community just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And that has been great.
That's awesome.
So I'm learning a lot.
I bet you are. I will say, I'll ask you for one more thing before we get out of here, which would be, I want to know how you use that. Here's the thing. The experience that it sounded like you just had with you running for city council, not being successful with that, but still wanting to contribute to your community, and then applying for positions that you might not even have felt like you were qualified for, but you knew you were a good learner and you were ready to step up to the plate no matter what position came your way. So I want to ask you to give our listeners, our future entrepreneurs, our potential entrepreneurs, or people who are looking for a little motivation because you've already said some great things about your journey. This is another part of your journey that is pretty, inspirational as well. What kind of advice would you give to them about taking the leap, about applying for something they might not even have thought that they were qualified for?
Oh, wow.
What kind of advice could you give there?
I would go back, and I go back to being a paper boy,
Mhm.
and I go back to that experience. As a 12-year-old, you don't see it.
Sure.
But as you become older, as you become wiser, you'll start to see the steps that brought you to where you are.
Mhm.
Waking up at 4 a.m., folding the newspaper, taking the time. And that's all it's about. Take the time. You can do anything. There is absolutely nothing on this earth that all of us are not capable of doing. We can do anything, but you have to take the time and put in the work. I heard something earlier today from Kobe Bryant. I'm a basketball fan. I'm LeBron James all day, but Kobe said, if you want to be great, you got to put in the work. You want to be a great basketball player? Then every day you have to play basketball 2-3 hours a day. Every day. You want to be a leader? That's what you have to do every day. You have to lead. You have to inspire. You have to communicate with people. And you have to lead by example. If you talk it, you got to walk it. You have to. I look at everyone, primarily when I go to my children, I look at my children as paparazzi. They watch and take mental pictures of everything that I do. Everything. So if I'm not leading myself, being the individual that I am supposed to be every day, then I'm failing. I'm failing myself. I'm failing them. Get up every morning, plant both feet firmly on the ground, and take that first step. That's it.
That's it, man. All 10 toes. That's the business lesson, guys. If you weren't listening, if you don't believe it, don't worry about it. I do. That's wonderful, man. I really appreciate you sharing. Shout out to the entire family. We talk about you being a great father and all, and a good family man. And shout out to all of them for also reminding you that they are paparazzi and they want you to get up every day and put your 2 feet down because you are the leader. And and you're a great leader. And so we appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
Lionel Saulsberry, ladies and gentlemen, let them know how to get in touch with you.
Please, by any means, get in contact with me. You can reach me at lionel.a.saulsberry@gmail.com. That's SAULSBERRY. I'd love to hear from you. And if there's anything that I can do to assist you in any way, shape, or form, please let me know.
That's it, man. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much,
man.
Really appreciate it.
Good man right there, man. Same Biz Pod, man. Same Business, Different Day podcast. SAMEBIZPOD. Find us on all platforms. We're going to have a blast. This summer we got a few people coming on board to help us out. Really appreciate Mateo over there taking care of us, making sure that these studios are running as smooth as they can be. Shout out to Running by My Lawyer. I know we got you a few minutes late today, but we had to have this good conversation. So we're going to wrap it up with you guys. Lionel Saulsberry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Zeke Corley, your host. Same Business, Different Day. Peace.